Hello and welcome to today's show. My name is Elma Sans, joined by a panel. On my right side is
Marcel Adal.
My left,
I'm Peter John.
And our main guest, Zachary Kabera. He's the author of Unshaken and the director at Anchor Point Resilience Solutions. So today we'll be able to delve into the mental health of young men. We want to understand the myths surrounding what men should be and how they should handle their emotions. So, guys, welcome on set.
Thank you.
Okay. So the first question I would like to pose to all of us is, why do you think not only young men in general, are always pushed to a point where they can't share their emotions? They have to burden themselves with things instead of sharing them and seeing how we can find solutions. Why?
Okay, starting, the reasons why young men, young youths, especially men, are not able to share out their feelings is just because, number one, it's because of the fear of judgment, whereby you don't want to put out what is in your heart, the emotions you have, to your friends. Either they may just walk out, share with their friends, expose your feelings, you get it. Another thing, it's about the culture and our society. Our society from long time ago, from ancient times, men are strong, they are not meant to be weak. So if a man tries to spill out what is in his heart, it's recognized as a weak man. So that makes them not to share what they have. I don't think if Marcel has the same opinion about that.
I have the same opinion. I would say the cultural stigma that surrounds a male character really impacts the mental health of men nowadays. You find that the times have changed, but we still have to uphold this certain character of the ancient man. When we say ancient, it looks too old, but I'd say like our predecessors, our fathers and grandfathers, the times are different. The generation of the past, you get. So I think we need to adapt to that.
Okay, maybe taking the cue from the two gentlemen. Why the men do not seek help, or rather why they keep quiet on this issue of emotions, whatever they are going through? Again, it is on the cultural settings, because from when you're born, from where I come from, they talk about the relations. I think five of them for a man, for a boy, and I think 4 for a girl. Meaning the boy has been put on a pedestal that is above the queue. And from there you taught that you are a man, you should not cry. You are a man, you should not show emotions. You are a man when problems come. But the point is, when you face challenges, you face them as an individual. And the other thing is, as a boy, do you have anybody you can pour out your emotions to? No. The cultural settings and what the society expects of you is to handle it like a man, even when you don't know how a man ought to behave. When I was a young man and my father was there, the issue was, if he found me crying, he wanted to know the reason. Why are you crying? No, I was beaten by so and so. And it's like he would beat me. Why can't you go beat that guy? Get something and hit him. And it's like he's teaching me to be hardy, but the way I was being taught, there was no, there is no mentorship. It's like, be a man. So I was confused. How is a man ought to behave? The macho way of handling issues. It is in the negative. It is in the negative.
By the way, talking about that,
yeah.
I remember when I was young, when somebody wrongs you, beats you, you start crying. You hear that man say, "Are you a girl? Why are you crying?" A man should not cry. So man up, be a man, stop crying. So if I relate that, it's about the mentality of African men.
Yes. And I think it is not really mentality. Again, I want to go to the cultural settings, which was wrong. Because that cultural settings tells you, even when you are facing a very hard thing, maybe it may be bereavement, it may be whatever kind of a heartbreak, losses and all that, they are all there. But nobody is telling you, this manning up, that cultural setting, when are we going to man up? And then how do we man up? And then if we don't man up, what happens? So the child is left wondering, and especially when you don't have a mentor, you end up in a cocoon, in a space where you're confused, you are lost, and other men don't understand you, women also don't understand you, and is at the end of the day, you find that nobody understands you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've said this statement, man up. We hear it a lot, especially when we're sharing our problems towards someone, and then you're told, man up. Do you think that statement, that those two words are a statement, a very powerful statement if you look at them, do you think that it's kind of dismissive?
It is not only dismissive, actually it degrades a man. Because the moment, supposing it was your girlfriend, or it's your mother, or even your father, somebody tells you to man up. Number one, they are telling you in the negative, right? It is not really affirmation. They are not trying to tell you you are doing very well. Whenever you hear something man up, it means somebody is challenging your masculinity, you know? And they are also injuring your emotions. Because for me, as a father, as a mentor, I believe that when I'm working with a young man like you or you, we should be working as a, you are my mentor, you take me as your mentor, I take you as my protege, somebody I'm taking care of. I know they can hurt. The moment I tell them to man up, it means either I'm giving up on them or I'm hard on them. For me, the issue is, how do we walk with my son, telling him, yes, you may have failed, but that is not the way. The way to do it is this way, this way, this way. If you get a pitfall, this is how you're going to do it. You can imagine when young men are facing heartbreaks.
That's common.
That's a major problem.
Very common.
It's common.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
For me, from my experience, I've faced it.
Yeah.
I would lie.
Okay.
But the moment I've faced it, I had no person to talk to. Because when I go to my friends, you will tell me, you know what? These things are very common.
Well, you're the first one.
Yeah, that's now the word. Are you the first one to go and the heartbreak?
Yes.
So this makes person not to talk about it. And that's why now most of young youths now start thinking about to commit suicide. Because this thing has been heavy in my heart.
Yes.
For a long time I have no person. If I try to tell my parents, they're gonna tell me, did I take you to school to have a relationship? I took you to school just to learn and focus on education.
Yes.
So these are what you are telling me, it's up to you now, it's upon you. Yeah.
And I think, you see, the issue is, for example, if you were to revisit that area, you find that there's nobody who ever took the young men into a lesson of how they are going to handle heartbreaks. Okay? The school of being told that you are going to learn something called no or rejection. It is not there. However, this being life, again, it will give you hard knocks without caring. So we need to get to a place whereby we are going to train ourselves as men. How do we handle adversity? Right?
Yeah.
Adversity is about hardships, is about challenges, is about rejection, is about you have been knocked down, but then how do I rise up again? All right?
Yeah.
So when I hear of young men actually struggling with mental health, struggling with whether I should live or not, it means actually even our generation, those who are supposed to be mentors, we have failed. Okay?
Yeah.
And how have we failed? Because I'm not able to talk with my son, with the young men that come around me and tell them, wait a moment, this is life. Life is not going to be very sweet to you. You're going to get heartbreaks, you will get rejection, you're going to get job losses, you're going to get all kinds of frustrations. But then, how do you get over to the other side?
When you guys, let me generalize all of you. When you say that young men are going through this, do you specifically mean men are going through it than women? Like, do you feel us, like women, we have a safer space to share our emotions than men?
Yeah, this is the way it is naturally. If you have two women here, you leave them for about 10, 15 to that minutes, they will have shared all their lives.
Sure.
Okay? You know, I'm so and so, I'm facing this, I have a boyfriend, these are issues that have happened, you know, all these things, I've been heartbroken, I have all that, and it's like you're able to pour out your emotions and everything. If you leave two men in the house, actually, or even a group of men, what men want to do, they want to share their achievements. They want to share the big things. They want to intimidate. Okay? That is how men are. So, answering your question in another way, we are trying to say that women naturally have a way of pouring whatever they are facing safely and anywhere whenever they get the time. Men, they don't do that. We are oriented in sharing our big things. That is why men, when they come together, they just want to impress. Now, in the course of impressing, they lose it because they are not legal.
Yeah.
Women are legal. Men are not.
I would like to say that on that note, women are emotional creatures. Like, they easily share the way they like words and they use words a lot. But men use reality. I'd like to say that we think logically. You get? So in a space, you would find a woman is able to share because she knows she'll get hurt or likes what she hears or something like that. But if you don't have something concrete, that's why Prof is saying we share our achievements and all that, sidelining the negative. So if you don't have something that shines and is concrete as a man, you'll be sidelined, according to my class.
And by the way, going back to that word, it's the moment you have left men in a room, they have put that mentality of they are men. They want to have achieved this for this span of time. Me, I've done this, I've done that. You know, there is no that room for a man saying, you know, you guys, we are sitting here, I'm going through this and this. I've faced this, I have financial problems. No, you will never hear that. What they will tell you is about, I've done this, I have 2 tenders for the government, they are coming, that comes for this amount of money, so in the future will be rich. But the moment a woman a woman cries, it shows that she has gone a lot. For example, mwanaume anakuja, you talk, you want this, you demand to be done this, but he tells you, no, I won't. Immediately you start crying. You go to your friend, you know, I've told so and so, my boyfriend, to do this, but he has refused. Now you have shared your feelings. But the moment you will see, that's why you will see a scenario of man going to bathroom, he switches off shower and he starts crying in there so that you cannot hear while you are there. And when he stays there for a long time, why are you staying there? So, I'm okay, I'm coming. I will be done in a few. But he has no that person to talk to. He only wants to show that I am a man. I was told to man up, to be a real man, to be a king, you see.
So sharing my opinion, I feel like men are somehow egocentric. That's ego.
Please explain why.
Yeah.
No, egoism. No, is it egoism or egocentric?
They are egocentric.
Okay.
They are egocentric
Mm-hmm.
because the ability for us women to be able to share our emotions, we put the ego away, and we are like, okay, I'm going through this and this. Sometimes I think half shared is a problem half solved.
Yeah.
So I think the first issue men are suffering from is ego.
Yeah.
Ego.
I do agree. I mean, it's egoism,
Yeah.
but there is a problem again because of the environment, the society, the community we are in, the people you're dealing with. They have put some expectations that are not legal. Then we as men, we have decided not to be authentic. I think I'm picking on what Peter was saying. The issue is, are we authentic? If I cannot shed tears for any other man to see, for a woman who is looking on me to see, and somebody who can tell me that it is okay not to be okay, it is okay to be sad, it is okay to be heartbroken, and you are complete, you are okay. If I don't have that space, then it means I'm also not authentic, because I want just to come out and show the world I'm okay, but deep inside I know I'm crumbling. I know the world has crumbled. I know that things are not okay, but I want to present myself as somebody who has conquered the world, when I know the next minute maybe you're breaking down or you're committing suicide. My thinking is we need now to go to factory setting. Owen has said that women are emotional beings, but I know that even men are emotional beings. The only thing is the settings have adjusted that. If we create a space whereby I'm able to come authentically and share and say, you know what, my girlfriend has frustrated me this way, I've been heartbroken, and then this is what has happened, and then I know that I will not be judged. I know that I will not be condemned. Probably from there, I'm going to get some consolation and something that is called affirmation. I'm looking for a time that I'll come and hug this young man, even when he is heartbroken, and tell him, by the way, that's okay. I have faced some no's, I've faced rejections, I've faced all this, but we are here, and we are okay. We have not died, and you are not going to die. The other thing is, this guy can tell me that, wait a moment, if somebody is facing this and that, how do I go about it? And I know that I've shared my story, and that story is going to be safe in you.
Yeah.
But the moment I know that it will go the other side, probably let me keep it to myself and die with it.
Sure.
So it's not that we are egocentric, by the way. Probably there is egoism. Of course, if somebody has told me that I'm a king, you are the boy, you are the man, we are looking up to you, of course that has elevated our egos. You feel that you are that person.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a young husband and I got a son, I used to, whenever I would go on a safari, I would always tell him, whether I'm going away and now you are the man in the house. Yeah? And I would get stories when I would get back from the mother and even from the sisters. You know, this guy, you left him to be in charge, and he would always tell us that, you know, now we have to close the door because dad is not here. If anything, I'm the man in the house. Now, of course, again, that is the wrong setting. Because, you know, yes, he's the man, he should ensure there is security, but the issue is, let him know that he is also a human being, he's vulnerable, he can be hurt, he can be heartbroken. When he knows that, probably then now we can build from there.
So does it go to the small things? Because I hear guys don't hug, rarely hug, let me say rarely hug, compliment each other. Because me, I can meet a fellow female and I'm like, yo, you look, can I say hot? You look hot today. But if a guy would do that, it will look weird in some way. So does it go to the small things?
I would say like guys do maybe offer compliments to each other, but not in a direct way. You'll find like someone has dressed nicely and a fellow friend of mine tells them, that's a compliment, but indirectly you just don't tell him it even feels hard to say sorry. It might be inducted in that stereotype, but it's kind of that way for us. It's like indirectly compliments.
But I want, because now I'm hanging out with young men. What I've realized is, wait a moment, if I told a gentleman that, by the way, today you look smart, you look okay, I think I hear, you know, the language is unawakunywa, whatever it means. But at the end of the day, the issue is, I should affirm a fellow man. When I talk about affirming a man, it is in even the small things. The way you have done things, even if it is your assignment, maybe it is at home, it is where you live, it's also good to appreciate that you're okay. And you know, hugging you, especially as a father, as a mentor, the issue of hugging you and telling you, yes, it is well. When you have done the right thing, even when you have failed, you should have somebody who is telling you, it's okay, you failed. We are not going to whip you, because you know the world has already whipped you. The only thing is that you're looking for consolation. You need somebody who can tell you, Paul, and that is why mothers always win the children, because you know they are able to see that this guy is struggling. Fellow men usually don't see that, they don't care. No, it's like when you are the first one. Yeah, will you be the last one? But we are talking of bringing ourselves to a position where I should understand. When I understand a young man and their struggles, I affirm them and give them hope. I'm sure the healing starts.
And talking about that, that's why you see men are more attached to their parents, that is young boys. Because the moment I'm going through an emotion in my heart, and then I tell my mom, she's there for me. She sits with me, she guides me, she advises. But the moment you go to your father, he will just look at you, will just sit down, you talk to him, he looks at you. This one is just, oh yeah, yes. And then after that he beats you on the shoulder, he tells you, move on. Just so it will look So again, it's men complimenting others. That's very rarely, you cannot find it. I'm just walking and we meet with another man, they say, oh wow, you're looking nice. Today you're too
Sharp.
You will find, hey, wait a minute. What are you up to? That mentality of, I will not say it or I can't, of LGBTQ. You, I'm a man of that community. How can you tell me I'm looking nice? That men cannot do. But you will find them telling the women, because we were told that you should compliment women, not other men. For you complimenting a man, it's wrong.
You look funny.
It looks weird. Yeah.
And I think this one now probably should take us to the next level. The next level is about we revisit masculinity.
Yeah.
Masculinity, because this is where issues are. You know, masculinity by itself, it can be negative or it can be positive. But I think we need to look at the positive one. The negative masculinity is where, like for example, we have been told a man should be macho, and that is it. You know, when you look like you come from the army, and you look like you can be the Bruce Lee, or you know, you can fight everybody in the room, you know, and you can knock every other woman. You know, women should cry for you. That is very negative. In fact, the men who have been hurting women, they happen to use their masculinity negatively. Okay? Because this is a guy, he is hurting himself. He himself is hurting. The problem that the society doesn't know is that this man is hurting, and because he is hurting, he's going to breed on other men, and he's going to breed on other women, and they feel like they are okay, but they are not okay. However, I am insisting on positive masculinity. Positive masculinity is telling you, you are a man. A man should protect. A man should be tender. You know, they have told us that you should be strong, you know. But I think a man should be tender so that anybody who comes around that space, they can feel the love and the care of that man. If that can be addressed, that probably I may have hurt because there is a man who failed in my life. There is a man who hurt me, and therefore, because of that hurting, I also hurt other people. We address that, we start healing, then you'll come to the level of how can I be a better son? How can I be a better brother? How can I be a better husband? Even to be, or even parent. You know, it's after healing that masculinity area. And that way, we are able actually to address not a few, but very many problems that are stemming from negative masculinity.
From what you've mentioned, I'm picking two things. One thing, a woman is very essential in a man's life.
Yeah.
Because it helps balance his masculinity. I don't know. Am I getting the point?
It's true. I would say like it's all about you know that circle for yin and yang. I would say either side you can say women are the black semicircle, men are the white ones. Yeah. But if you look at it, there's that dot. The white one has like a black dot inside there. So it's like the yin and the yang there should be a balance, kind of. Sorry to say that I said that women are emotional beings. Also men are. And you find like what Prof is saying about like healthy masculinity, you find now that man is in tune with his emotions. That's where your emotional quotient now comes into play. And you can become a safe space for people, and they feel that love, na your brightness, you radiate some type of vibe. You get? Yeah.
And I think picking it from where you have left, look at it. Why would a man like to love one girl, then after that hurt her, then go to another, and then all of a sudden it becomes a sequence? Why? Is it not because probably they have a problem that they need to address? Right? Sometimes you look at those girls and you're really wondering, did they come from the same man? Are they brought up in the same environment, they behave the same, and this man has been over? There are men who have married I don't know how many. They have broken everybody. The question is, it's about what Owen has just talked about. Can we address the root problem of this man?
As if I embody myself as a man right now, if I was a guy right now and I had the ability to access a variety of methods, what I know, probably I'm using protection, so I'm not getting sick and I'm not getting pregnant. So isn't it fun to like explore different sizes?
Let me say something on that. You guys are fans of superhero movies or something like that, Marvel. Spider-Man was told by his uncle, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
So even if you're a man, yes, you can do that. But you should be responsible for the actions that you do, because you impact these women long term, whether you know it consciously or unconsciously, you get. Because there's a study that says, and this also goes like to the women, where you shouldn't like go around letting many men into you. It's because, do you know that traces of sperm and semen remain in a woman's body possibly for life, in her reproductive system and her mental system? You get that? That's why you can find, you after settling down or something, now let me say it from a man's perspective. When you do that, then you leave your DNA imprint on that lady. When she's conceiving, do you know that DNA will be part of the child that she's having, even if it's a different man? That's why you might find sometimes there's a kid that looks like this, sure is X, more than the current.
Yeah.
Do you know that's true?
We don't know how true that is, because I think there are some people who should tell us that. But I think I want to pick it from what you are saying. Because now I would say like David of the Bible says, he said, I was young and now I'm old. I have also been a young person, and I observed men. Even now I do observe men. It's something I fight. A man who hurt women, maybe in the conquest kind of experience, you know? You feel that one is crying for you, the other one is crying for you. But when you grow old, when you get to an age and thereof, there's something that you find. You don't want actually to talk about those conquests. They hurt you. In other words, eventually after hurting men, hurting women, hurting children, eventually it comes back to you. So just like the Bible says that give and it shall be given back to you, you know, a good measure. You know, it comes now in a good measure.
Yeah.
Well shaken, overflowing, and all that, it is given back to you. That is why you find somebody who has been hurting women, they have been hurting other people, other or whatever. So when it comes back to you, it comes back in good measure. So maybe for now, it is fantasy, it is exciting, it is what he has just said. But before all, and even before you exit this world, it comes back to hurt you. So in this case, you need to be very, very cautious and be warned that if it will hurt you, at that time, who will care?
But also, if we go back to our traditional African communities and societies, while I was schooling, I was told the moment a woman gets pregnant, she was quarantined for 9 months, then a man is anatafutiwa another woman there for pleasure. He should not have sex with his wife while he's she's pregnant. So instead of having sex with his wife, analetewa another, so we call them concubine or to have sex, to enjoy himself, different varieties, you get it. So I think this mentality of men moving from one woman to another, from that to another, they are putting that mentality of traditional African communities. Yeah, you are not limited to one.
And it is a wrong mentality if at all. Okay?
Yeah.
Because what are you trying to say? Is it medically it is wrong? Or who has said? Alright? Or is it about the men's appetite for women? Because now I have an excuse. Because if my wife is pregnant, now I can go for all the women I want. So again, it's about the wrong teaching. It is not the truth. Yeah, it is not the truth. If anything, even culturally, probably, it was not happening. But men, in the course of time, they will get all kinds of excuses because they want to taste all kinds of foods. In quotes. But that is not the way it is. We know, I think for me, I'm a father, and I know. So basically, I have sad children, and I know that it is not true. Yes. So maybe the issue that we need to discuss, or rather in conclusion, is that this mental wellness that we are talking of young men is about what is it, how does it show up? And I think because you have worked with men, we might talk about mental wellness. What is mental wellness? I think that is an issue probably we need to, as we wrap up this episode, I think it's an issue that, what do you think it is? Whenever I talk about mental wellness, is it somebody who is throwing stones or picking up papers up there?
Actually not.
Yes.
If I say mental illness, I'll see that is the immediate state of your mind and your behavior, the outward behavior.
Yes.
For example, if you change your behavior, that is, you used to stay with your friends, now you have isolated yourself, the decline in academic performances, that's all it's about mental illness. Your mind is not in a proper, let's say, manner. I'm out functioning.
Yeah, and I think that is very, very important for everybody, even the onlookers and our viewers, to know that probably you observe how the persona has changed. Maybe they have become sad, they were social, then all of a sudden, like he says, they have withdrawn. Somebody who was very joyous and bubbly, all of a sudden they are sad. Maybe even you yourself, you can gauge yourself. Sometimes you become anxious. You know, you're so anxious, you don't know why you're anxious. And all that. And then probably something has gone wrong. You need actually now to go to what triggered this. Okay? Is it because I'm hurting? Is it because probably the challenge I'm facing has brought all this? Those triggers, trying to study them and track them is very, very important. Because that is the only way you can start seeking for help, or you can call out. You can say, wait a moment, I think I need help. Maybe the other issue, probably we look at how do we, try to mitigate. That is also very equally important. What is your take? How do we mitigate now that you are a young man? Yeah.
I would say developing healthy coping mechanisms for when you're in this situation. You might find your mind is cloggy or fogged up because of certain situations, and you might try things like sports. Sports and exercising is, by the way, a really great way of getting rid of that feeling in your mind and bringing yourself back to reality and grounding yourself. You get? I don't think one way of mitigating this thing is indulgence. people indulge because it narrows the time frame. It minuses the past and the future, so that now you just focus on the present. Whereas it's not okay. It's what can I say? A temporary solution to that, because after the shoki, you still find yourself in the same place. So it's all about developing healthy coping mechanisms. And one of those healthy coping mechanisms is like embracing, opening up, and talking. Just share once and feel how it goes. And I think it lifts a burden. I've done it and I would encourage other men to do it still.
Yes, I agree with you. In the coping mechanisms, we look at mindfulness. When you talk about mindfulness, is where actually you're trying to trace your thought trail. You know, how did I come here? You know, you're able to know that probably I've been hurting because either my father, either my mom, either my girlfriend, or whatever the situation, probably it's a job situation, or maybe it's about any other social issue, but you're able to trace how the whole thing has evolved, where did we come from, where did the rain start hitting us. The mindfulness and the meditation is a very, very strong coping mechanism, because that way you're able to locate yourself. In other words, we are saying you have a meeting, a dialogue with yourself, and say, how did we get here? How did it affect us? Then from there, you're able to say, wait a moment, is it possible for us to get a solution? Just yourself. I think when you were at it, he has talked about the physical exercise. Very, very important. You know, I usually take my walks in the morning. There's something I've found. Walking and physical exercise are very, very important. Because in the quietness of walking, you are able actually to go through all the issues, the hardships that you're facing, you're processing them, you know that time you're not with anybody. And when you do that, number one, even the body is able to release some of these pressures that are building in you. So I would urge the young men, as we talk about mindfulness, as we talk about meditation, the physical exercise is also very, 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 very important. Because you're able to release some tensions that are building in your mind and in your body, and that is okay. The other thing, like I said, is also trying to ensure that you are able to talk to somebody. It's okay not to be okay. And it's okay to let somebody, you know that probably that space is safe. Share with them and tell them, I don't think I'm okay. And then somebody should be able actually to call you out, they're able to check on you, to know where you are. So don't let the whole thing build up to an extent that you want to exit from this world before your time. You see, in my book, which is Unshaken, the issue is about finding your true north. Even this mental wellness issue, when it faces you, it is actually trying to distract you from your true north, your purpose. So that is why we need to address it, so that at the end of the day, you serve your purpose in this life. Right? And finally, we want to end up with this, the call to action. What should we do? The issue is, number one, we should try to open this conversation about mental wellness. Let it be discussed for the young men. Let even the men who are supposed to be mental like myself get into this conversation. The other thing is, create a safe space whereby young men are going to share their stories. They have been hurt by whoever, maybe it may be their parents, it may be their uncles, it may be girlfriends, it may be whatever it is. But we should have that space created for these young men, so that we are able to work together and start healing. And then I think I would urge, even for policymakers, including the government, those who are running institutions and everybody, is we need to have policies, even at workplace, whereby these mental illness issues should come out. And then, how do we enhance resilience? Because people need to know that they are falling, but they need also to know that they can bounce back. I think that is what is critical. That is what is important.
On the same note about this policymakers and government, you find that they've neglected the boy child a lot. I personally feel that because Women's Day was, I think, a week ago or something.
Last week.
You find that these guys go to schools or whatever, there's free pad programs, free uniform programs for the girl child, but the boy child is just left hanging. Who will advocate for us? Huh? Because there's also an International Men's Day. Barely any awareness goes around for that. Why? I think that's one of the causes that's actually bringing about this mental issue that we feel neglected at the end of the day.
And I think maybe without reopening the discussion, the issue is if we enhance the girl, and the girl child is our girl, the boy child is our boy, our child. The issue is, as we celebrate the girl, we should celebrate the boy. But man, it is good to know that you're on your own. Now that you're on your own, how do you fight for your space? Okay? As they tell you to man up, the question is, I need my space. But we are saying that space, let us create positivity around it.
Now, I have another question for Prof. Do you think, let's say someone has managed to find his true north and is going okay with life, then you find another man, a friend of his, wants to go in the same direction, but it's not working. Because in some cases, your true north might not be mine, it might be myself. What advice could you give to them?
Very simple. I'll just say this. You have 5 fingers. These 5 fingers, they were created in the womb at the same time. But when you look at them, the sizes and everything are different. And it means that all of us are in different races. We are not on the same track. The problem with you is when you want to cope, you to copy my track, my race. You are on your race, please make sure you run your race. In other words, God has called us for different purposes in life. You may be journalist, you may be economist, you may be artist, whatever you are. But remember, we are not competing. You have your track, I have my track. In other words, you have your purpose in life. When you discover that purpose, serve it, fulfill it. God will be happy, you'll be happy, mankind will be happy that you came around.
Don't enclose your emotions and feelings within you. Find a person who you trust, because I know in your lifetime you have a person whom you trust a lot. So men, avoid this mentality of African men that you are a man. No word called man up. It's just become being you because you are created by God alone. Don't compare yourself with another person. Be you, be the real you.
You are a man. We have talked about the softest skills of masculinity. Having said that, is if the person who comes to your life, whether it happens to be a woman, a child, or any other man, they should feel your love, but they should also feel your protection. In other words, you should be having that masculinity that is able to elevate somebody who is down and make sure that that person is protected.
So someone out there might be interested in maybe reaching out to you. Could you please let them know how they can Is there a way they can reach out to you?
I'll be sharing my social media handles where you can get me on the Facebook and everything. But I have a mobile number which is not private, 0721-864-581. That one is always open. You can WhatsApp, we can discuss any issue you think you have. I think I remember to call back, no problem. We can organize for a meeting. But meanwhile, I'm organizing for, in fact, my lady is a men conference that is upcoming, that is in April, whereby I'll also be training on resilience. I think it will be in around 5th. I'll be sharing those details with you after this, so that those men who feel they can, I think it will be on online, but there will be other speakers, but I'm among the speakers. I'm available. The other thing is, you feel that probably the mobile number might not be the best. My email is zach.cabera@gmail.com. I think you can as well share whatever the issue you think we can there we can discuss. Otherwise, even for physical meeting, we can still have a cup of coffee, discuss, and if you have an issue.
Let's sum up our episode for today. It's been a pleasure having Professor Kabera around. He's a very good lecturer on organization, development, and leadership, as we have seen with his dialogue today. And I want to urge you to tune in next time. Thank you.